Gonna make a quick video here. Breaking news: Donald Trump has decided he is going to sign the stimulus package. And as far as I'm aware, I'll probably be making a more detailed video on this as time goes on. This actually makes me look like a jackass for some of the stuff I just said in my previous video, where I was defending Trump against attacks from Cenk Uygur, where Cenk Uygur, of course, was criticizing Trump for not signing the stimulus. You know, that stimulus that coughed out a crapping $600 for us, yet gave millions to other countries, and in some cases billions, but definitely gave billions and billions and billions away to people who didn't need it. And of course, Trump came out and said, I'm not going to sign this, and I want $2,000 check-wise for the American. Trim the fat. Give me $2,000. What is so preposterous about this? He said, give me $2,000, and the Democrats over in the House said, sure, whatever. Surprising, sure, but they said they were for it. That put the weight on Mitch McConnell. What does Trump do to counteract that? How does Trump handle that exactly? He goes, backtracks, and signs this crap of a stimulus anyway. I've got to be honest with you. How he is going to maintain any kind of support after this is without a doubt beyond me, because even his own supporters hopped on the train of criticizing this thing. They were on the same page as a lot of the leftists or libertarians or whatever. A lot of the people who liked when Tulsi voted no and gave, all the other congressmen and women credit for voting no, right? Rashida Tlaib, Matt Gaetz, Justin Amash, Thomas Massey, okay? When they gave them credit, a lot of people on the Twitter spectrum especially were saying, look, this is a crap of a deal. You had leftists out there, Jimmy Dore, Kyle Kulinski. This is a terrible stimulus. It's an insult to the American people. So when Trump came out and said the same thing, a lot of his base got on board with the same thing we were talking about with the stimulus. How he's just giving our money away and giving us nothing in return for it. And so what does he do? He comes out and he says, I'm not going to sign it. And everybody's like, yeah, and they're all pointing, right-wingers even, pointing toward what is in that bill and how much of our money it gives away to people who don't need it, even other countries. Forget the waste it's giving away inside the country. It's giving that much away towards the outside of the country. And he said he's not going to sign it. And what does he do? He flip-flops right back around and signs the damn thing anyway. Now, the first thing mainstream media is saying about all is he's avoiding a government shutdown. He's avoiding a government shutdown. Trump, really? You shut the government down in the past in an attempt to get funding for the border wall. So what's the problem with shutting the government down? You were okay with shutting the government down for funding for a wall, but you're not okay with shutting the government down when it comes down to getting the American people better help and not signing crappy legislation that gives billions of our dollars away to other countries when we're in a pandemic ourselves? Seriously? I will say this again, for all of the people who've been praising Trump since election, for all the people who've been sitting around on their butt telling us how they don't regret voting for Trump instead of voting for a third-party candidate, for the people who claim they're independent in heart and they want to tell us Trump's the outsider, he's trying to buck the establishment. What the fuck do you call this? Seriously. Do you regret your vote now? Because I certainly hope you do, especially if you're any kind of independent. The only people who could see him flip-flop like this and not regret voting for this ass clown at this point has to be hardcore far-right wingers. Because if you're any kind of an independent and you think him signing that is a good thing, you're out of your damn mind. That piece of legislation is absolutely terrible. Terrible. Got to be, if not the worst, one of the worst things he's ever signed off on in his 4 years in office. And he does this on the way out the door instead of holding his word, sticking to his guns. You know, the only thing I can think of is that he's still trying to halfway play ball for the Republicans, and he thinks that Mitch McConnell's not going to go through and do anything, and that it could just sink the Republicans in the Georgia runoff race. Well, I got news for you. They're probably getting sunk anyway. Because of what just happened here. You'd have been better off to stick to your guns and put all the blame on Mitch McConnell. You've already been doing it all over Twitter. You've already been attacking Mitch McConnell on Twitter. There was no reason whatsoever for him to backtrack on his word and sign that thing anyway. But I'm honestly not that surprised. This is the point I've been making for some time. Trump is not an outsider, and I figured that out quite a while ago. I voted for the man in 2016 with the hope, crossing my fingers like, please, possibly be an outsider. I know Clinton's going to be same old, so I'm just going to, you're saying a lot of the right things, man. Maybe you'll do it. But I figured out very quickly when he started appointing swamp creatures all around him, nah. He's not living up to his word, and he's not living up to his end of the bargain. Period. He does not live up to the outsider he ran on. And I think proof of that is he ran a different campaign for an election this time. And again, that's why I said all along, if he was cheated, I'm not shedding a tear. What the hell did we lose? We lost a big mouth who claims to be an outsider and does the establishment's bidding anyway. You can't tell me signing that hunk of shit isn't doing the bidding of the establishment. That damn piece of legislation is more useless than if they were to just mail us a big box of shit. Honestly. It's stomach turning what they've done. And now you see why I said I would not vote for Donald Trump. I despise the fact Joe Biden's going to go to office in January. And I said multiple times, I'd rather have 4 more years of Trump than Joe Biden. But I wasn't going to vote for the guy. You know why? Because either damn way, I was saying it before November, you're getting a brown wave. Here it is. Here it fucking is. So for all the people who agreed with me that it was going to be a brown wave, but then turn around and voted for that fucker anyway, I hope you are proud of your vote. Own it. Own your vote. Seriously. Own it. Because what you've shown is that rather than taking a principled stance, you vote for a guy who long ago showed how corrupt he was. And now you've been trying to pitch the message of, oh, no, he's an outsider and he's trying to buck the establishment. His whole thing about election, if it were the other way around, if it had been rigged in his favor, you think he'd be out there talking about, no. We can't have this. We can't have this election interference. We need a recount. You think he would have done that? You think he's that honest of a guy, all the people that's been running that content on their channel, that Trump's so damn honest and an outsider and he's an imperfect vessel for uniting? You think that if the shoe had been on the other foot and it had been rigged in his favor, he would have took a principled stance and said, no, we can't have that bullshit. He would have gladly taking a rigged election, I promise you. If there had been rigging taking place for him, he would not say the first word. He would have gone right along with it. He would have allowed it all to happen because he is morally corrupt. He is not the outsider he ran on that he would be. He is morally corrupt. He's in it for himself. And that just goes to show you that the whole talk, in all honesty, about him even not signing the legislation, to me, just goes to show that at the end of the day, He was never doing this for the American people. And I never said he was either when I gave him credit. I always said, if you go back and watch my videos, I said, even if he's doing the right thing for the wrong reasons, it's still best he's doing the right thing. But this just goes to show what the suspicion was. The suspicion my aunt had when I discussed this with her, and she said, well, why is he going to do that? He's not for the poor people of our country. No, he's not. He's not at all. He clearly was even debating doing this for the most selfish of reasons out there, just so he could probably get a petty jab at Mitch McConnell, and possibly, if the Democrats didn't go along with it, and of course Chuck Schumer being one of those originally who didn't want to go along with it, if that had happened, I think he was trying to call their bluff. I think he was trying to look like a good guy on the way out the door, but he is a corrupt stooge. He's a corrupt sellout and a corrupt stooge. He is not bucking the establishment. He never truly bucked the establishment. He never pardoned Assange. He never pardoned Snowden. He never pardoned Manning. And I'm going to put my money on it now. As much as I would still love to see it happen, I'll put the money on it now. He's not going to either. Just like he failed to deliver on this after saying he would veto it and veto that pile of steaming shit, and he didn't. He's not gonna pardon him. He's not going to buck the establishment. He stabbed you all in the back, stabbed me in the back. I thought he might actually do something good on his way out the door. I told my mother-in-law. She's a big Trump supporter. And I said it to her just a night or two ago. I said, hey, I'm because she voted for Trump. I didn't this time around, but I told her, I said, hey, I'm proud of your guy. Looks like he's actually going to do something right on the way out the door. He's going to veto a crappy stimulus bill. I'm proud of him. Regardless of why, I'm glad he's going to do it. Well, don't pie right in my face, because the fucker didn't do it. The fucker didn't do it. If you don't believe that Trump isn't an outsider, I don't know what else you want. What else do you need? Jesus Christ himself to ride down on a horse from heaven and pimp slap the shit out of you to knock some sense into you? What do you need to figure out Donald Trump is a hack? What do you need to figure out he was never the people's president, and he is not an outsider president? He just talks a big game. He's got the rhetoric, and he's got a charisma that can work a crowd. But this piece of shit legislation that he just signed shows he was never the outsider he ran on. He's a hack. And the only reason he was saying any of that crap about elections is because he's petty that it happened to him. At the end of the day, the suspicion about his ego has always been the truth. And clearly, someone was able to tone his ego down from going forward by letting his ego guide him to do the right thing for the people. Somehow, some way, the status quo got back in his ear and talked him off of it. Ta-da! He screwed you over. He was never in it for you. If he was in it for you, he would have stuck to his word. Clearly, he's a sellout to them. He wants to do business with them, and the only way he's not going to do business with them is if he's just deliberately trying to get back at them because he don't think they were being nice enough to him. And that had to be what happened here. I mean, it absolutely had to be. There's no other rational explanation for it. So I'll say it again for all the people who've been spending the last month or two harping on election this, election that, Trump great, Trump an outsider, let's go Trump, and I don't regret my vote. I hope you're fucking thrilled that he just signed billions of our dollars away to waste while he so generously is going to shit out $600 for you. No health care, by the way. No health care. None of that. $600. Or roughly about the same amount in some cases you probably could have gotten out of the Bush stimuluses over a decade ago. Own that vote. Seriously, own that vote, because I hope you're thoroughly satisfied with the fact that you voted for your outsider. You deserve to be happy. Enjoy it.